Hello and welcome to the No One Asked You podcast. This series, I am once again joined by my wonderful co-host, That Darn Kitty. Dorkus and I are sharing our experience reading The Way of Kings for the first time. Each episode we will summarize what we've read and discuss our experience along the way. This is Storming the Archives, The Way of Kings, and today we discuss Chapter 43.
Chapter 43! Chapter 43, The Wretch. Kaladin awakes feeling dread. He couldn't sleep. He doesn't want to try. He shouldn't care. There is no hope. Kaladin leaves the barrack to see the men lined up, neatly shaved. Lamaril's replacement approaches. Brightness Hashal introduces the new captain, her husband, Bright Lord Matal. She explains that they are aware this bridge crew is troublesome.
It seems that you have survived the Almighty's judgment. I bear a message for you from your betters. The Almighty has given you another chance to prove yourself as a bridgeman. That is all. Many are trying to read too much into what happened, so High Prince Sadius has forbidden Dorkus to come see you.
Kaladin makes a blunt comment, to which Hashal has him beaten. Despite his capability to fight back, Kaladin takes the beating. From now on, the bridge crews will no longer switch between various camp duties. Bridge 4 is permanently assigned to chasm duty. The crew descends into a chasm. Kaladin considers simply stepping off the edge, but climbs down with the rest of them. He knows what's happening to him, and he sees it infecting the crew as well. Syl asks what's wrong. Kaladin regrets not fighting the soldiers that beat him earlier. Syl wonders if he should have fought, too. Even though she hates killing, she's helped men kill before. This shocks Kaladin. She has faint memories, but doesn't want to talk about it. She knows it was right, though. Kaladin thinks his dad's philosophy that you can't protect by killing is incorrect, because it implies one can protect another way. Syl asks if that's why he didn't accept a glory several months back, though Kaladin states that was because of something else. Rock approaches Kaladin, saying the bridge crew want to know what the plan is. Rock tries to uplift Kaladin, but Kaladin rejects the comfort. Living is a curse, if it's simply to watch everyone around him die. The crew gets to work. Teft approaches, asking if Kaladin wants to talk. He says the other men are confused and want to know what to do next. Kaladin addresses the crew, saying he doesn't know what to do. They're bait, and they're going to die. There's nothing he can do about it. The crew turns, grumbling. Teft continues, trying to convince Kaladin not to give up. He believes it's pathetic to just give up. He says a phrase, "Journey before destination." Sigzil claims it was a saying of the Lost Radiance. The crew starts talking about the Radiance, Voidbringers, and the phrase. Syl likes the phrase. She says Teft is right. Kaladin can't give up. Scar claims Kaladin is right. There is no hope. This haunts Kaladin. Kaladin stumbles away while the crew argues. Syl tries to talk to him. It's the fight that matters. Kaladin thinks on Sigzil's words. Life before death, strength before weakness, journey before destination. Death is the destination, but life is the journey. He picks up a rock and thinks of Tien, and how Tien's death changed how Kaladin reacted to the wretch. There's one thing they could try. He speaks with the crew. He warns them what they're considering could lead to their death. They can try to escape. Kaladin can train them with spears while they're in the chasm each day. They'll attack a guard post at night. Maybe Sadius will underestimate them, and they'll be able to get away. The group agrees. They lived out in the wilds, always awaiting the desolation, or sometimes a foolish child who took no heed of the night's darkness. A child's tale, yes, but this quote from Shadows Remembered seems to hint at the truth I seek. See page 82, the fourth tale.
Hint at the truth I seek? Okay, now you're hinting at the truth you seek by hinting at the truth you seek. Thanks, Anderson. But the truth he seeks, like she seeks, where the Voidbringers lived when they come, all about the desolation. That's the truth she's looking at.
Because we've suspected that Yasna thinks that the desolation is coming, and we know her interest in the Parshendi. I presumed that the they lived out in the wilds is in reference to the Parshendi.
Oh. Yeah, not the Voidbringers. That makes more sense.
Yeah. Don't know what else I have to say on that other than Shadows Remembered. Our best remembered, Shalon. This was a sad chapter.
Yeah. Well, yes, it was sad, but it ended better.
Yeah. Sanderson writes depression incredibly well.
Hmm.
The stream of consciousness, the prose of not caring and having that sort of insight into oneself. It's like, yes, I realize I feel this way. I realize it's not me, but it's how I feel. It really struck a chord with me.
Yeah, like I know this happens, but it's still so powerful. So yeah, I
Mhm.
know what it does. I know that logically it doesn't get me anywhere better. I know that it's not the solution. Like he even literally has that thought, but it's still so tempting, and so you just fall into it. Just even the casual thoughts of death. Just I'm going down. I'm just going down a ladder. Oh, you know what? I could fall. I could just like that whole thing.
Mhm.
Very very well done.
Yeah. Before we start going chronologically, I do want to talk quickly about their end declaration, their intention to rebel. I had two thoughts on that. One, will we get a Spartacus moment where Sadius arrives and they're all like, I'm Kaladin Stormblessed? I'm Kaladin Stormblessed. I don't think that'll happen
No.
because he does have the brands and others in the group know. I mean, like Gaz and Lamaril know.
Mhm.
But the other thought I had is we've talked in the past about pilgrimages in the desert, and we know that they're in the shattered plains where there's going to be not a lot of survivable land for a reasonable any reasonable direction one can expect from traveling without equipment. So
Mhm.
I'm wondering if we're going to get a pilgrimage through the plains.
Yeah, that's what I'm expecting. And it is a good place to be. I know that there are proper dangers, but at the same time, it does keep you away from the armies. So that's where I'm thinking they will land up anyway.
Yeah.
Mm.
Wait, so do you think that they're going to be successful in their little rebellion and
I, I
flee?
I don't think it'll because I don't know if they're going to be because it's suggested to them, look, you can't go through the shattered plains because once you get to a certain point that everybody dies, there's too many chasm fiends, even the Parshendi don't get past there, that whole thing, that's like that is taken out as an option. They're apparently they're attacking a guard post, and it seems like they're going around. That's what I
Hmm,
understood, is that they're trying to do that. And I don't know. I think they're probably going to still land up. I think things will go wrong, and they're still going to land up running through the shattered plains
gotcha.
and going where they think they're not going to go.
Right. And even if they do get caught and executed, they're gonna die anyway.
Yeah, it's another.
Don't die a slave.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And they just want another plan. That is all. They're like, okay, next plan. Like why not? You have nothing to lose. Okay, you have your life,
Truly.
but you've lost your life essentially by being a bridgeman. Okay, you know that.
Mhm.
So again, you kind of have nothing to lose all over again. You've already lost
Yeah.
it. Cool, let's go. Let's
And
do it. We have nothing to lose.
yeah, and it should matter to Kaladin that they know the risk they are taking.
Hmm.
It's they know the risk.
Yeah, they've chosen. They want something to do. They want some. They want a choice to make. They want to try and resist in some manner. And I love that the hope that he fostered in others is part of what makes him uncomfortable in this chapter, uh,
Yep.
because there was that there's like this echo of hopeful Kaladin, and that's what happens when you go into depression. You kind of forget who you were before. You forget all of that.
Yeah.
But they haven't. They didn't forget that. And yes, there's obviously when there are lots of people that are angry, but there's also a group that he even looks at that looks hopeful. They believe in him. So I love the whole dynamic of the whole chapter in terms of them having hope, but also some people faltering when they see their leader faltering as well.
Yeah, it. the characters that you would expect to show some degree of empathy and want to pull him out, like who might understand what's happening,
Mhm.
behave as you would expect, and others who might not care, not might not care, but more like more dipping their toes into this trust thing, more easily prone to feeling betrayed, are of course going to be more nihilistic about Kaladin's sudden depression.
Yeah.
But Kaladin comes out and he sees that everyone has shaved.
Yeah, that was a great thing. Is another thing with this symbolism, right? So he's brought everyone to a certain point. They've got hope, and they did this thing for Rock because they wanted him to to be happy, and now they're all cleaned up and they're ready to go. They've got hope, and he doesn't. Like, and it's physically on his face because he is not cleaned up.
Yeah.
Yeah, just that visual was really good.
Yeah, the dichotomy or juxtaposition that they've all been gaining hope and he's lost it. They're shaved, he's not.
And yeah, that's more of depression, literally part of depression as well. You start neglecting your own hygiene because you don't care about anything.
Yeah. Although to be fair, when would he have had time?
I know, but no, but I'm saying like he doesn't go, oh, we should shave. Like he just touches it, his beard, and then gets interrupted. But I don't think he was on his way to go and get shaved.
Yeah. And then we get Lamaril's replacement, Hashal, and what was the guy's name? Matal?
Mm.
I don't like these two at all. And I won't say I was frustrated about the chasm duty element at the beginning because I figured that Kaladin would find a way to make the best of that.
Hmm.
But I was very excited at the prospect at the end of this chapter of their attempt to undo Kaladin, unalive Kaladin through this action, coming back to bite them because I dislike them so much.
Yeah, excited for it.
Yes.
They're supposed to be disliked. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, very clearly so.
Hmm.
Oh, and that gets us to Sadius, who I think more or less as we expected was like, so you lived. It's not a big deal. You're still a bridgeman.
Hmm. But
Go
he's
die.
now the fact that so go die because it's like yeah that and the way that she herself delivered that message was the scorn I have for her. But the I'm thinking she had to say that hey, she's forbidden Gorkas to come see you. That implies that there are people that want to see him.
Yes. Maybe other soldiers.
Yeah, so there are Gork. There are Gorkas. So I mean, you don't put that oh, I've forbidden Gorkas to come and see him without them being there because that would invite them to want to see. So this desire was there beforehand. So people are hearing about it. They're thinking about it, and then you hear about this crew going missing. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he's a legend. He's going to become a nemesis. His
Yeah.
level of nemesis is building up for Sadius.
Yep.
Mm.
Then we get the soldiers beating Kaladin up, and he chooses to take it. And with that note, we jump ahead to him saying later that he regretted not fighting back. And I think this is another facet of Sanderson writing depression really well, because I think he made the right choice. Fighting back would not have helped him in any significant way in that moment, I don't think.
Nope.
And it's a common thing in depression with pretty much anything to be like, I should have done this. I should
Mhm.
have done that. I wish I had done this. It would have felt so good to do this. So I really appreciated that in this chapter.
Yeah.
And then they go into the chasm.
Yes.
And in the chasm we get many a discussion and many a lore drop.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have to go through the bulk of them. Let me see.
I had them highlighted and my highlights disappeared.
No!
Yeah, so annoyed.
So in this Syl conversation, we get Kaladin talking about how his father was wrong.
Hmm.
He says, "My father told me that it is impossible to protect by killing." Well, he was wrong. He was wrong because he implied that you could protect people in other ways. You can't. And it goes on a bit.
Hmm.
That's nihilism.
Hmm. And yeah, not even just anger, just disappointment, that disillusionment. My father was wrong. There's no, there's just no hope about anything. Nothing has value anymore as well. Nothing that his father taught him has value because it's
Yeah.
wrong.
And Syl asks if that's why he didn't accept a glory several months back. And I think this is the first that we hear of Kaladin being offered a glory, which in and of itself seems like a big thing. I can only presume that this is tied to him beating a shard bearer or something like that, right?
Yeah, you keep saying a glory. Mine says the glory all those months ago.
The glory strikes me as referring to one specific glory, but glories plural strike me as something like a Roman triumph. If you do something truly meritorious, you get a big celebration. That's what I got from that context.
Okay, because what I got from that is that what you why you didn't accept it, the glory all those months ago? This made me think. Wait a second, did he? And that was one of my highlights, and I had a note and everything. So screw you, Kindle. But basically, what I thought was, did he refuse the shard blade? The look, I think it's more likely that he it's what you're talking about, the triumph and whatever. But my initial thought was, wait, did he reject whatever he was given when he killed the Light Eyes and all of that? Maybe he wasn't offered the shard plate or whatever the way he thought he would have been given, and they were like, no, we'll give you, we'll promote you basically. And that's what the glory was for him, is that you kind of, you're still brought up a little bit, but you're not going to be a Light Eyes. And that is why he didn't accept it, because it's not good enough, because he's been fighting for this the whole time, expecting that he's going to, well, not really, but I think he gets over it. But at some point, he's expecting that he would become a Light Eyes, as he thought earlier on, and they did not give it to him, because that's not how it actually works in reality. So so he landed there, but they tried to give him a sort of consolation prize, and he didn't accept it because it's not good enough. That's what I thought when I read that part.
The truth is, the game was rigged from the start. Uh, yeah, I had imagined something to the effect of he beat the Light Eyes
Hmm.
that had a shard blade or shard plate,
Hmm.
and for whatever reason, he wasn't able to take possession of it. Presumably, someone else managed to grab it before he did,
Hmm.
and they offered him a glory. It's like, you did a great service. And he's like, okay, so give me the thing. And they're like, nah, nah, you can have a glory if you want, but you're not getting this shard blade. And then when he refuses, then the Light Eyes is like, okay, then, well, I can't have you talking shit about me, so
So
you're a slave now.
yeah, there you go. Yeah, I think that's likely. Another possibility though, that's less likely, is I was like, did he refuse it because his men refused some sort of glory because his men died assisting him? Like, he was going to get the shard plate, okay, and they actually were going to give it to him, and he rejected it. Why would that happen? And I'm like, okay, maybe it's because so many of his men died. I don't know. But I think more likely is the previous things we discussed.
Yeah. And Kaladin gets into the chasm and he's working slowly.
Hold on. One more thing. Hello? Thinking about Syl. Syl's helped Min kill before? Interesting. Little bit of a drop there. Could have beaten him. Maybe you should have fought them then. I thought you didn't like killing. I hate it, she said, growing more translucent. But I've helped men kill before.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Whoops. I thought that came in a later
Mm.
Syl Kaladin interaction, yet here we are. We obviously had that death spren with Syl fighting and holding a sword, so I think she was a radiant or some sort of,
Mm.
I don't know. She's clearly connected to the radiants in some way.
Yeah, she
And
likes their saying and everything.
mhm.
And also
And
just more love commentary of Syl, where it's just like she there's several interactions where she's just like, because, and that's her answer. I
yeah,
like it.
me too. I'm gonna be so curious. I want her memories back, and I want her to be willing to share the memories, so she could be like, "Yeah, I was there when the radiance fell. I know what happened. I know why it happened. I know how it happened. Here you go." But I don't think we're gonna get that lore dump anytime soon.
No, and it's very gradual and sudden. And sudden, I mean, gradual and sudden don't work together, but it's gradual. What I mean by gradual is that gradually she gets these sudden revelations. Where she'll just, like today she remembered that she's helped men kill before, and then she's like, oh, well, I don't want to talk about it. Like
Yep.
it seems like she's noticing when she says she's noticed. It's not like it doesn't seem like she's kept it to herself and not told them. It's just like as it comes out of her mouth, she's like, oh yeah, I just remembered that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they get into the chasm, and Rock is extremely optimistic.
So
And what? Yeah, it is.
jumps in a puddle.
And I can't tell if it's like just his normal optimism or if it's him trying to cheer Kaladin up as he asks to help motivate Kaladin.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a bit of both. I
Yeah.
think Rock probably has a high enough EQ to know what's going on with him.
Mhm. Yeah, he's not, and he tries. It's just like, hey, life, all of the things. He's like, oh, life is struggling. It's fine, but living, this is no curse. I love that.
Yep. And Kaladin says outright, and it's very dark, better I shouldn't have survived that storm. I'm just going to end up dead from a Parshendi arrow. We all are. And that shuts up Rock quick enough.
Yeah, there's just not much you can do with that. So it's just like, okay, yeah, he is properly in despair, and you're not gonna don't get aggressive with him. It's just okay. Never mind. There's nothing I can say.
Yeah. And sometimes when you're going through it, you need to be left alone, at least for a little bit. Like, you don't want to leave people like that alone too long because
Mm-hmm.
you can spiral. But uh, so, don't stop checking in,
Mm-hmm.
but also you kind of have to go through it as well.
And there will be nastiness coming from a person in that state.
Yeah.
Literally, it's how wretched they are feeling. It's not really about you. It's just about how wretched they're feeling.
Yep. But then Teft comes up.
Yeah, and calls him son.
Yeah.
Mm.
And this interaction is informed by our knowledge that Teft may or may not think that Kaladin is the Messiah.
Or something, and he still hasn't really found a way to approach it. So it seems like he will only talk about it to Kaladin when he's in the right mind of, about his magic, basically.
Yeah.
Because that's not that cool. You can have questions about this Messiah thing, but the point is Kaladin can do the magic, okay, and that's a big deal. Okay, so we need to have that discussion and we need to train that up and whatever. But he's obviously holding back. I don't know if I think it's a mix of personal reasons for holding back because he's not sure about his position because the what was it, the and not the anticipation people,
The Envisagers?
the envisagers, yes, like he doesn't seem like he is an envisager or he's somewhat an envisager, so there's a personal reason for him to hold back moving through this, but then there's also Kaladin's not in the right place to be told he's got to save the world or whatever it is.
Precisely. But Taft attempts to reach out in an empathetic way, at least at first.
Mhm.
He says the men want to know what the plan is, and Kaladin loses his shit and he just
Yells at all of them.
yells at all of them. We're all gonna. I
Mhm.
don't know what to do. If we try to protect ourselves, Sadius will have us punished. We're bait. We're gonna die. There's nothing I can do about it. It's hopeless. And that is probably the worst thing he could do right there. He just undid all of his hard work.
Mhm. And that to many of the men is like a betrayal. It's like, oh, so you gave me all this hope, and now you're coming and telling me that I must give up again. That's even worse than just leaving me from the beginning. So it feels like a huge betrayal. So I can understand the anger that they had at that. And yeah, okay, it is true. The things that he's saying are true, and you do want minds to work on it, but the way that he says it is as if it's final. It's not like I don't want him pretending he knows what to do forever. I don't want him doing that. And I want him being honest with the men as much as he can be. But that
Mhm.
is, I have no hope, I'm giving up. And that is not what they need to hear at all.
Yeah.
Because that's he built up that whole thing. And what's great is that some of the men retained hope themselves.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then we get the line, he thinks to himself, just let me be, let me go back to apathy. At least then there's no pain. And what an incredibly sad thought,
Mhm.
sincerely. And I get the thought, but that thought is elevated by a line we get later on in the book where Kaladin thinks to himself, the wretch seemed to be standing before him. He meant release, apathy. Did Kaladin really want to go back to that? It was a false refuge.
Mhm.
Apathy as a false refuge was such a powerful line in this book. It may be one of my favorites in the whole book.
Mhm.
Really wonderful sentiment there.
Yeah, he goes forward to say what where it gets him. It still just gets him to in a hopeless end. I really love that line as well, and I like how it contrasts a little bit between what he said before, the apathy, like you said, where he's just like, oh, he wants to be apathetic, but then he's like, oh, he realizes it's a false refuge. But there's also that thing of, as someone who's in depression, this is not a good place to be, but it is so tempting as well.
Yeah. And then Teft continues to try to cheer him up, and Kaladin wonders why Teft of all people. And Teft calls it pathetic. I don't know what the point is, but it seems pathetic to give up. We should keep fighting, right until those arrows take us. Journey before destination. And is this the first time we get that phrase from a character in this?
I think it's. I feel like it is, but I feel like I've heard it before. Obviously, it's a usual. Yeah, we've heard it before.
I feel like we have two, and for the life of me, I don't recall specifically where.
Mm.
I mean, it's written on the back of the book. We know that, but no, I think in the text somewhere.
But I
Uh,
don't feel like it's from one of them in this area. This is the first time they're
yeah,
hearing it. Definitely, obviously, in world we see Kaladin hasn't heard this before, or like it. I like that it's got an obvious meaning and then a subtle meaning. So that's it's pretty cool.
yeah, and I think we can presume this is some deep Invisager lore because when Kaladin questions Teft on it, Teft looks down quickly, says he doesn't know. It's just something he heard once.
Mm-hmm.
And then our educated man, Sigzil, pipes up saying it's the Lost Radiance, and we get some wonderful discussion between several members of the bridge crew about the Lost Radiance, why they are the Lost Radiance, what happened. None of them can really agree. Some think that they betrayed everyone, some think other things.
Rock doesn't even believe in the Void Bringers. He just,
Yep.
it's all just a kid's story.
Scar thinks they were real.
Mhm. But yeah, the whole debate is whether they abandoned everybody to the Voidbringers.
Right.
And then there were some people saying, oh, they helped the other side, so that's even worse than just abandoning. They helped them. So I don't know. It's all open for discussion, and I would think that the Envisagers are a group, a secret-ish group that have a certain lore about the truth about the Radiance. They're not lost. Yeah.
Exactly. That's precisely what I got out of this. Taft knows a hell of a lot more about this than he's willing to currently let on.
Yeah, at the moment.
Yeah. And Syl says that she likes Journey Before Destination. Again, a big signpost that she was involved with the Radiance.
She's nodding towards them. Yeah. Somehow. Hmm.
And she tells Kaladin that he can't give up, and she can't give a great reason other than you can't.
Yeah, that's the end of it. You can't. Well, it could mean so many things. He is unable. He's unable to give up, or he must not. He cannot because there's he needs to. There's different ways you could see that, and I love that we don't know which really. Whenever she says anything, you could take it any way you want.
Yeah.
Because.
And the Radiant conversation continues, and Scar says Kaladin's right, maybe there is no hope. And this devastates Kaladin, and rightfully so.
Yeah, that should it kind of shocks him. It's like having a sort of what's a defibrillator. It's like, hey, you see what's happening here? What's at stake? This is what you've done here. This is what you. There were people that were relying on your hope to like keep them going, and there is
Precisely.
guilt, and that guilt can overwhelm you. He could have gone all the way and been like, yeah, I'm wretched. I'm horrible. Look what I've done to these people. That pain could have just made him spiral more.
It is so antithetical to who Kaladin is as a person that he would simply feel that he could feel apathetic about being the cause of someone else feeling hopeless. That
Yeah.
is something that hurts him viscerally.
Yeah, it's not, and it doesn't go. It shocks him out of his, well, not all the way out of it, but like it's still painful. He will feel pain. And he wants apathy, but he's feeling that pain because he cares about others having hope, even though he doesn't. He's trying to lose hope about himself. Seeing it in others, oh,
Yep.
and
Taft gets
it happened. Sorry, it happened several times in the chapter.
yeah.
Kaladin's right. Kaladin, well, maybe Kaladin had something. Like them saying that happens to him several times.
Yeah. And then on the topic of Radiance, Taft says he just thinks everyone's ignorant. He doesn't trust the Light Eyes, especially because they're women, write all the histories. And I'm like, I like you, Taft.
Yeah, I highlighted that as well. I was like, yes, true. And I love the way you said it. He's like, hey, they're women write all their history there. And it's not like, oh, it's just because the women are fallible. I didn't get that feeling about the way you were saying it. It was that they can conspire and do all of that stuff. It's just they only have women looking at it. That's a weird thing. Yeah, there is a loophole there that can be exploited. And
Yep.
that I don't know. Did you get that he's like don't trust women, or what did you think?
It's tough because I know that his statement about being ignorant is tempered by the fact that he clearly knows more than he lets on. It's totally a conspiracy. So I don't know. I like Taft. I side with Taft for whatever reason he says it. I'm gonna go ahead and rely on he's a part of his own little Investiture conspiracy.
Yeah.
So no, not sexism.
Mm-mm.
He is of a mind
Yeah,
to consider.
but there is a note there where it's like maybe a bit of criticism for their gendered. Maybe in his society they aren't gendered that way, where it's like the women do the women are the ones that read and write. Like he is seems like he's like part of a secret scholarly group of some sort. Obviously, Sigil. These other societies exist where men are learned as well. So
Yeah.
this criticism for the Alethi, I think, is valid. It's like you're wiping out, you're literally making it unacceptable for 50% of your population to, or what is it, 49%? Either way, of your population to be using its brain, and it's wrong no matter which way you do it.
Yep. Then we get another wonderful interaction with Syl, but it's so depressing. Will you read it with me, Kitty?
Okay, let me get to it.
I can't save them, Syl.
Are you certain?
I've failed every time before.
And so you'll fail this time too?
Yes.
Well then, let's say that you're right.
So why fight? I told myself that I would try one last time, but I failed before I began. There's no saving them.
Doesn't the fight itself mean anything?
Not if you're destined to die. Very sad.
Hmm. Yeah, and it's just like she's thinking about the fight. She's thinking about the journey. The go down fighting. Don't just go down swinging. That's the word.
Yeah,
Mm.
exactly. Don't go gently.
Mhm.
But she also, I think, has a much deeper understanding of what life before death means.
Mm.
And it's a realization that Kaladin's about to come to because he then proceeds to
Work through those words.
exactly,
Yeah.
yeah, work through it, work through what it means, the depth behind the phrase.
Mm.
And ultimately, his conclusion is death is the destination, but the journey, that is life, that's what matters.
Yeah. So you can change that. So yeah, cool. We've got this death. We're bridgemen. We're gonna die. We know this. Now what we're gonna do? We can die a different way. Hey.
Yeah. And as he has this catharsis, he finds a rock and thinks of Tien.
Yeah, that was hard. Still don't know what happened to Tien, but he does talk about after he lost his brother, how the wretch, how he dealt with the wretch was different because his brother used to be. It seems like he would have this seasonal depression as well, where it would go with the weeping, which apparently is basically just a lot of clouds, a lot of rain. It seems different to a normal storm. So during that sort of he would that would usually coincide. He would land up becoming depressed at this time of year or whenever it was, and Tien would manage to keep his spirits up or at least help him recover. Then obviously he lost Tien, and we still don't know how. And I thought he would look at the rock a little bit more to notice a bit of Tien, but he just had it in his hand. We didn't have a description of it. That was interesting to me because Tien would look at a rock and tell you what was so cool about it. But hey, it's not lost on me.
Same. And this essentially pulls him out of his funk. Having a goal helps him.
Also, sorry, also to keep in mind is that they find a bridgeman dead. I think that's another thing that could have pulled him really far under, because it's like this is what bridgemen do, they just die. That was part of his descent before he rose up and had a plan.
Right. And he has his catharsis. He realizes, or he thinks they're gonna die anyway, so running away is our only option if we want a chance at survival. And really, it's true. Certain death on the field, the odds are not in your favor at
Mm-hmm.
all, or running away, either being caught and strung up or starving out in the desert.
Yeah. I definitely like they're not excited. Like one of the things that Kaladin notices is, there's no like shouting and yay that he would have gotten with previous men that he led. It's just
Mhm.
they are frightened
Somber.
and everything. Yeah. They're somber. They're resigned. This is the bottom, the rock bottom that they're at, and then they're gonna just pick themselves up. They're not gonna be jumping for joy.
Precisely.
I'm glad that
Now,
this whole thing happened in one chapter. He could have stretched it out, and I don't think I would have liked that.
I agree.
Yeah.
Now, I did have a big question.
Hmm.
How long is it going to take to train them up?
Yeah, I know.
Because so many of them could die on any one bridge run,
Hmm.
even if their numbers are, better than average, thanks to Kaladin's storm sorcery that he doesn't know about. He still really cannot afford to spend a tremendous amount of time.
No,
So,
yeah. So they won't be. I think they'll be pushed into having to. They don't even. They first of all they don't have a lot of time, but they'll be even rushed even further. That's what I feel. And yeah, they don't have sap to help the wounded. All of that. Everything is really against them in terms of time. So they won't be as well trained as they need to be. We know that. And they'll have lost. Can you imagine also, we're talking about, we know that mechanism about training up new soldiers and whatever. That's the whole reason we have bridge crews. You
mhm,
still, when you have somebody enter the bridge crew, because you're presumably getting resupplied with bodies essentially, those people have to be let in on the plan. They have to be trusted, or they're not. Like that's
true,
so that there's you got to try and keep everyone as alive as possible.
very true. So I really hope that they make their move sooner rather than later, even if it's unprepared or
Yeah.
less prepared than they would like.
Mm. Yeah, exactly. I think it'll be, and you know what? It's still a fight. Yes, it's running away, but it's still a fight. It requires a fight. Running away is defiance in this case. It seems that way. That's
Yeah.
the only thing they can do. Yeah.
And they're already well watered and well muscled from all of their practice drills. So really, Kaladin, just teach them a few strikes and teach them, not to break ranks and
Mm.
get to it, please.
Crash course right now, and it seems like they started immediately. Like everybody, they pick up spears and stuff. So yeah, I love the way this gives them the opportunity. Having them on chasm duty gives them opportunity because nobody's coming down there with them to supervise,
True.
and it works really well. I'm not like, oh, that's convenient. I'm like, no, that makes so much sense.
Yeah,
Mm. That's it. Good chapter.
very much so. Thank you all for tuning in. Have a great rest of your week. Subscribe to that darn Kite if you get a chance, because she's got a great channel. And join the Discord if you feel like it. I post memes there. See you next time. Okay, thanks, bye.
Bye.